So after what felt like 5 years of using the iPhone 11 as my daily device, I finally pulled the plug and switched to the iPhone 15 Pro. This was more or less an impromptu decision. I pretty much wanted to hold off upgrading to any iPhone until later this year, later down the line when newer iPhones drop, the iPhone 18 series, because that would indirectly affect the prices of older iPhones. So yeah, that was the plan. That was the plan. But the iPhone 11 started to give me some headache, from the charging port not working to overheating to glitching out occasionally and even shocking me when I use it while it's charging. For that last part, I don't know how many of you have experienced that. I feel like maybe it was just my unit. Maybe let me know down in the comments, but it used to shock me a lot, and that was not a fun experience. So many things I had to endure with the iPhone 11, and the upgrade, as some of you would agree, was long overdue. I bought the iPhone 15 Pro as used, of course, it's 2026, so. And from the options available at the time, I chose the blue titanium over the white, since the white titanium had a replaced screen and this had all the original parts intact. Trust me, I actually checked. So just a heads up, one piece of tech you guys would not be seeing anymore on the channel is the iPad Pro that I used to own, because I basically sold that to fund this phone. If you watch my video on why you might not need an iPad, you'll understand why I made this decision. This video is basically more or less a first impressions, or what I actually noticed from switching from the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 15 Pro. I might be making a whole dedicated video talking about my experience using the phone, but that will come later down the line. If there's anything you guys want to know about the iPhone 15 Pro, or even my experience switching from the iPhone 11 to this phone, do drop them in the comments. I will try my possible best to include those in the future video. Coming soon, maybe not too long after this video, but yeah, of course, subscribe so you don't miss that video when it actually drops. Going from a rounded and, may I say, chunky phone to a slightly curved, boxy, slick design makes this phone feel more serious than I expected. The sides are made from titanium, which I believe is something that Apple might still bring back in the future, since the last iPhone was basically reverted back to aluminum. I have no idea why Apple decided to go back to aluminum. At first, they were saying something about it lets heat out of the phone faster, but I believe that was the same thing they said when they brought titanium to the iPhone. So maybe at some point we'll see that switch. But for now, yeah, back to aluminum, but I still appreciate the fact that this has titanium. It makes me feel like a more serious person, like I know what I'm doing with my life. The camera bump compared to the iPhone 11 is ridiculous, and I kind of see why the iPhone 11 indirectly messed with my confidence when I was at social gatherings with the rich kids around me. Something else I noticed is the matte glass back, which I believe has been a thing for the iPhone Pros. This really eliminates any form of fingerprints and smudges, which is something I do appreciate a lot. But the trade-off now, especially for me, is that the camera bump is glossy. Again, the inverse of the non-Pro iPhones, and that's where all of my fingerprints now sit. I find myself cleaning my cameras more than I ever did when I had the iPhone 11. It's a good habit, if you ask me, but it's not something I was expecting. And even to be completely honest, carrying a phone like this, although some people might call it old, but it's the iPhone 15 Pro, not that old to be honest. Carrying a phone like this that looks this good and looks this sleek and is relatively expensive does something to you and how you carry yourself in certain places. It doesn't sound correct. It doesn't sound like something that should be a norm, but I'm just going to be as honest as I can. I find myself being able to enter certain spaces now with a lot more confidence than I used to. And especially for me being in a third world country, where getting something like this, it's not something you see everyone doing. I think the most popular phone in my country right now should be like the iPhone 11 or the iPhone XR. So you see, going from that to this, it does something to you, believe it or not. Now onto the device itself, and the first thing I noticed is the dynamic island, which is technically a gimmick, but it is a functional one. And in my opinion, especially after using this for a month, it is definitely a very nice gimmick to have. I find this better than the dead notch that basically sits around mocking you for losing that screen space and you can do nothing about it. With the dynamic island, definitely it is something you stop paying attention to at some point, but to me, it's still better than the notch. Next is something that's a feature that I was generally excited for: 120Hz ProMotion. After using this for the past month and a half, my hot take: this is a bigger gimmick than the dynamic island. I only noticed the 120Hz refresh rate when I scroll through the homepage, particularly the homepage, and I don't see it when I doom scroll or watch content on YouTube. Except you plan on gaming, you might never see or even notice the 120Hz because day-to-day use, 60Hz is perfectly fine. The monitor I have behind me is just 60Hz, and I did feel like it was something I was going to regret at some point. But to be honest, after about a month now of owning this, I do not see the reason why anyone should go above 60Hz, especially if you're trying to do productive work. I understand the whole point of gaming. If you're trying to game, perfect. Get something higher, 120Hz, 240Hz if you can afford it. But for regular day-to-day use, watching content, watching movies, basically just productivity work, generally, you don't need anything more than 60Hz. My MacBook Pro, on the other hand, has the ProMotion screen, but I promise you, I only notice it when I move my mouse. Back to the build of the phone, one thing I forgot to add is the action button that replaced the mute switch. I used this at first as the default mute switch, basically, but since I could also do that from the control center, I decided to use this to set reminders instead. It's practical if you need it, but if you don't, there's really nothing flashy about the action button. And of course, one thing that made me skip every other older iPhone and made me fix my eyes on upgrading to the iPhone 15 series, USB-C, and that one cable for everything dream. I really needed this since everything I own, down to even to my desk lamp, is USB-C. But I soon realized that one cable for everything is a dream, and it's true, but it doesn't mean you only need to have one cable. Right now, I have a Thunderbolt 4 USB-C cable from my MacBook to my display, USB to USB-C cable for my speaker so I can use it in lossless audio mode, a 60 watts cable to charge anything, including my iPhone, and one high-powered 140 watt cable to charge my Anker Prime power bank. I wanted to touch on the cameras a little bit in this video and more in depth on that future video. The cameras on this are clearly better than the iPhone 11, especially in low light situations. The lens I found myself using the most since when I got this phone has to be the wide angle lens. It wasn't something I ever used well on the iPhone 11 because it wasn't that good, but here it's pretty sharp. But that aside, even with this having a 48 megapixel main camera, I still find myself taking terrible shots even in good lighting. And like I said, I do have a good habit right now of cleaning my lenses, so at this point it's more or less a skill issue. I for one would love to know how Apple takes those stunning pictures that they use on their keynotes and advertising, and why mine never looks like that. At the end of the day, I think this phone has satisfied my urge to get a decent iPhone for once, and I have no regrets. The upgrade was definitely worth it. I know I didn't mention anything about the performance, the A17 Pro chip. Maybe I'll go into that in the full video, but so far, just based on first impressions, the phone is smooth and responsive, and that's pretty much all I can say about the performance. At this point, I don't really know what I'm supposed to cover in the full video about this phone. Nonetheless, let me know anything you want to know down in the comments. I think I said no way too much. Just let me know anything you want to know. I said it again. Just let me know what you need to hear about the iPhone 15 or my experience switching from the iPhone 11. Just let me know down in the comments. I'm just saying it. Let me know down in the comments and I'll get to you guys in that video, possibly answer all your questions. And yeah, subscribe if you found this video helpful and informative, and let me know what you think about my video quality. I do pride myself in that, trying to get better every time. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the future video. Bye. Nailed this video, man. Ugh, if I can just reach